I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Thomas Kutzman. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm great, Angel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. Great pleasure to have you. What part of the world are you in right now, Thomas?
I am in New York City.
Yeah, the Big Apple, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Do they still call it the Big Apple? I mean, I was there when I was about 9, and I remember we had the T-shirts with the Big Apple. Do they still call it the Big Apple?
Yeah, I think that's something that's going to stick for a long time. It's a lot of nostalgia for people, so I think that'll be a nickname for a long time.
All right. So which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
So, like you, I'm a fellow podcaster. I recently began my journey as a podcaster on a new podcast called Real Estate is Your Business. That's actually a partnership with Mouth Media Network, and I believe you've interviewed a few of the Mouth Media Network team prior to this.
Yeah.
And Real Estate is Your Business is focused on elevating the conversation of leaders and innovators in the real estate industry that are taking new, more modern approaches with technology.
That was wonderful. What's the most fun you have on that podcast?
I think the best part about it is talking to entrepreneurs, hearing their journeys. We all read magazines and see the television interviews of the super successful people. But I think there's an important thing for all entrepreneurs is that the journey is very difficult. And it's interesting to hear people's breakthrough moments and hearing, how they were able to overcome the early obstacles to achieve the success they're reaching.
Do you have a real estate background as well?
I've always been an investor in real estate. I've been investing in real estate for over a decade. I used to work in financial investments, but 3 years ago, I was frustrated with some of the pain points that were occurring in the real estate industry, and I co-founded a real estate tech startup that's focused on saving people money when they buy or sell a home. In the United States, compared to the rest of the world, commission rates are very high. In the U.S., they're 5 to 6%, where in other parts of the world they're 2-3%. And our startup's focused on helping people save money when they transact.
Wow. So you are the analytical type of guy. Who did you learn that skill from?
I think I was always, grew up with a mathematical mind. My parents always instilled a big focus on learning and education. And I think it's always that desire to learn something new, to be curious about different problems, whether it's trying to figure out a company as an investment or to try to figure out a business model to solve a problem for people. I think it's that desire to learn and that curiosity to really drive discovery.
That's intriguing. So where does the sizzle come in? When you think where there's the hypothesis, or is it when you are sure the thing that you were thinking is factual?
I think you have to start with a clear understanding of a problem and a willingness to iterate and evolve your solution. Sometimes the ideas and the hypotheses you begin with gives you data that clearly tells you should shift or modify your product. And I think in order to achieve a broader vision, you have to respond to the data that's coming in, as opposed to being stubborn just because something's not working the way you want it to.
Yeah, stubborn starts with STU as well as that other word, right?
Exactly.
That's intriguing. Where's the best place for someone to connect with you, Thomas? Follow your journey.
Sure. So you can reach me on Instagram or LinkedIn at Thomas Kutzman, ThomasKutzman. Or you can also reach our brand at prevuapp.com, prevuapp.com.
That's wonderful. Do tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I think the key thing for me is I have a voracious appetite for consuming content in all forms. I'm not a huge reader of books, but I love reading blog posts. I love listening to podcasts and hearing other people's journeys across industries. Because sometimes you'll hear something that worked for somebody in an adjacent industry, or something completely different that, applied in the same way to your industry could really make a huge difference. And as I shifted from focusing on investments to focusing on a more entrepreneurial path, hearing those lessons from other leaders, other innovators, has definitely helped my journey, for sure.
It's like a cheat, isn't it?
I think the world follows certain sort of patterns, whether markets follow patterns or waves, or nature follows waves. I think there are set ideas that work, and you just have to be willing to experiment and apply them in new ways to other industries or other problems.
Love it. How does it make you feel when you've applied the correct medicine, if you would, metaphorically speaking, to the disease?
Yeah, it's definitely very fulfilling when you attack a problem with a goal. For example, with Prevu, we're trying to save people money, and with our smart buyer rebate product, we're able to unlock a great amount of savings for people in the idea of a cashback rebate when you purchase a home. So let's say you buy $1 million property in New York, you're getting a check back for $20,000, and it's in those moments where you've found the logistical ways to deliver that savings for people, and to see their face when they receive that check. It's a very fulfilling and satisfying experience to watch that happiness when someone buys their dream home and gets a significant rebate in savings.
Suggest to someone in their own arena, if you would, that they do something like you've done. Again, you've fitted the thing that fits together with who you are, right? And you found a way to build a business that brings value to you, and of course to the customer. Suggest to someone else why they should do that in their arena.
Right, sure. I think the key thing there's a lot of smart people out there. There's a lot of people with great ideas. I think sometimes they lack the courage to try. And I think too often in today's world, people choose to make excuses or blame their situations on external forces. And I think we're blessed with a wealth of information available at our fingertips to go out and learn and enhance our skills in what we're truly passionate about. For example, if someone's interested in a particular industry or a particular hobby that they want to turn into a business, they can Google or search on YouTube for tricks and ways to improve those skills. And I think that's very unique versus 10 or 20 years ago, where people used to have to go to school to refine their crafts and refine their skills. And I think there's a wealth of knowledge available on the internet now where people can pursue their passions and really enhance what they're passionate about.
Well, amazing audience, you're hearing it live here from Thomas Kutzman. Again, he is the podcast host of Real Estate is Your Business. Thomas, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Thomas, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I think one of my earliest childhood memories was with my father. Growing up, there was this cookie can that had all the United States presidents on it. And we would sometimes sit around and he'd actually quiz me on the different presidents. And I think that's one of the clear examples of my childhood where I was always encouraged to learn and think about role models in the world. And I think that that definitely will always resonate with me.
Well, that's fascinating. Hey, you're connecting the dots. Do I need to leave this podcast? That's great. That's amazing. Well, I could jokingly say something there. Am I allowed to do that? Could I just put something in there?
Yeah, sure. I have a couple guesses on where you're going.
All right. Yeah, he did teach you about the value of the dead presidents, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, wonderful. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Sure. So I turned 12 in 1994, and one of my favorite movies of all time, which is probably not one of the the big classics, but it was a movie called With Honors. And it was the story of a college student played by Brendan Fraser who learns about life lessons from a bum that was played by the actor Joe Pesci. And yeah, it's not one of the most famous movies. There's an opening scene of the movie where the main character is running, and the song "She Sells Sanctuary" by The Cult comes on, and it's a very high energy song, and it just that scene of that movie and that song just makes you want to start your day and sort of go attack problems in the world.
Love it. It all connects here, amazing audience. Well, Thomas, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Thomas?
Sure, let's go.
Thomas, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No, not yet, but I have a few candidates.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Sometimes, yes. But generally during the week, it's definitely 3 hours or more per week.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's definitely more than 8 hours a day.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Thomas Kutzman, what would you say that is?
I think it's unique, and it may sound a little bit morbid, but I believe we're all going to die one day, and it's important to make sure that we are the best versions of ourselves when that day ultimately comes. And I guess that's my way of saying that you only live once. Take risks and never stop learning and improving yourself.
Love it. Thomas, hey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Sure. I think if for all those entrepreneurs out there or anybody beginning their career or at a crossroads in their career, never be afraid to take that chance to learn something, even if it begins as a side hustle. Realize that being passionate about what you're doing is more important than just surviving life. You should be experiencing life, not just surviving it.
Love that. Love that. Thomas Kutzman, this was a great pleasure. I say one more time, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. Good luck with your journey.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.